Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock Foundation Disc Golf Weekly Podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner. We're going to go over D-Glow. We're going to look a little bit at the Player of the Year.
Top 10. I was just going to keep saying it after each segment because we're so excited.
Oh, we are going to our top 10. We're going over the Player of the Year, mainly for FPO, because that race there is electric.
I've been threatened that if I talk about Player of the Year MPO ever again, especially on debate night, I will be hunted down. Not just Gary at this point.
Yeah, Gary was getting heated about it.
That was the Hall of Fame one.
Shout out Gary.
Which I get it. It's a bit, but, you know.
We also are going to check in on the Disc Golf Pro Tour playoff race because it's playoff time. More or less. So we'll talk through that, and then we read your comments. We're gonna do our top 10 today.
No matter what.
Wow.
No matter
we're gonna do it today.
No matter what.
We're gonna get to
we
it.
promise you, we're totally gonna do it today.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Hunter, if you wanted to do it that bad, you would do it.
We're doing it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you wanted
I want to do it so bad. We're starting the show off with our top 10.
You would do
anything in your power to do it.
We're gonna do it today. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Even if I'm the only one sitting at this table, we're doing the top 10.
That would be funny.
Y'all just
sitting here and he's
it's like an hour.
I gotta eat lunch.
I gotta go, man. And I'm just like, all right, top 10.
You're yelling like Ezra or Cordon, gut reaction.
Yeah, trap. Before we get into today's episode, though, let me tell you about our sponsors. All right, guys, it's the best time of the year. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a harsh start. I'm going to be straight with you. Christmas is the best time of the year. But for some people, it's the best time of the year. Football's back.
Best weather of the year.
Best weather.
It's like the prelude.
I don't know. Anyways,
to holidays.
We're talking NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and that glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where your inner GM comes alive, saying the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV, making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy everyone ridicules in the group chat. That was always me. But listen, while you're over here making sure your fantasy team's dialed in, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets left on the bench. Let's be honest. Nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine, and that's where Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in. Acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook, from keeping things sharp down below with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra to taking care of those rogue nose and ear hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0. This is the lineup that that'll keep you looking and feeling like a champ on and off the field. So join the over 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by heading over to manscaped.com and use code GRIPLOCKED for 20% off and free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of the grooming season. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra doesn't just stop at grooming essentials, though. It also comes with 2 free gifts: the Boxers 2.0 Midnight Bravo and the Shed 2.0 Toiletry Bag. Ooh. Premium gear to ensure you're always ready for action, whether at home or on the road. So again, don't forget, get 20% off and free shipping with code GRIPLOCKED over at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off and free shipping with code GRIPLOCKED at manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything the season throws your way.
I was laughing because I had no idea that was a Manscaped ad read.
Yeah, they kind of threw it at you, huh?
They did. I thought for sure I knew what company it was, and then it wasn't that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Get lit, shit.
I thought it was sponsored by the NFL.
D-Glow. That's ENEFFELL.
Yeah,
for those listening.
Never talk about that.
D-Glow went down. Gannon Buhr took it down. He is now undefeated in Disc Golf Pro Tour Plus events, which is crazy. Isaac Robinson and Ricky Wysocki tied for second. And then over on FPO, we had Holland Hanley taking it down, Haley King in second, and Kristin Tattar sneaking into that third place spot. Now, according to the DGN broadcast, I found this fascinating. This is Holland's first time beating Kristin at all this season and her first time ever winning an event with Kristin in the field.
That's nice.
So big win for Holland.
I think her last
She ain't scared of
her last two, Holland was not there, or Kristin was not there.
Yeah, I was to say one of them may have been during just the injury, and then the other one might have been during just the European field. Right.
Yeah. This is Holland's third win on the season. It's her third win overall.
Let's go, Holland.
She now leads the DGPT points race right now, which I did not realize that, but she leads. She has a pretty considerable lead.
Let's go.
If you're watching this week, I think the key thing, really, and this is a key thing for a lot of players, but statistically, the key thing for Holland was just keeping the disc in bounds. She led the field in OB strokes. She only took 4 all weekend, so she only averaged 1 OB throw per round. To put that in perspective, Kristin took 14 OB strokes.
Well, let me tell you
weekend.
My biggest takeaway from FPO was the final round, and this doesn't always happen in FPO, but the final round really set up for one of those rat races where you've got like 5 or 6 people that can be in it, and even when somebody grabs a little lead, you kind of expect it to just boop, go away, and then everybody, like, that's where I feel like a lot of players like Haley and Kristin, and even Owen at the beginning were kind of sitting where it's just like, okay, Holland's in the lead. she's maybe even grown the lead a little bit, but we just kind of have to wait and bide our time.
Yeah.
But what happened was Holland was able to keep the disc in play. We saw her throw herself out of Worlds basically.
Yeah.
And she just did the opposite of that in some windy conditions on a course where some of those shots were pretty demanding. I mean, there was a lot of players really struggling to get the angles right and get the discs right. It's crazy to think about, but and I've experienced this filming YouTube videos recently, but we're just getting wind back, at least in our part of the country. And a lot of these players throughout the season have not played in much wind. We've been doing the weather reports for months and been like, yep, not a lot of wind, maybe 10 miles an hour at most. And so getting a little bit of wind, it's a huge mental shift there. And I also think that helps for a player like Holland, who's not a great putter, to kind of take that out of play a little bit. Not that she had putting struggles, but I don't think it really became necessary.
Yeah.
But what I saw was she took command of that round pretty early on and then just kind of, kept it. She never really fumbled and was able to earn the win that way. Some other players had some decent rounds, but yeah, that was a great performance for her and I think a confidence builder. And I'm really high on Holland Hanley at this point. They really get me every time. They actually showed it on the broadcast, but they show that clip of her form over the last 4 years, and it really has improved a lot. And I think she is a player that is earlier in her player trajectory than we might think. I think a lot of times you see where the FPO ceiling is for certain players, and so you might put Holland into a different category, but I genuinely think she's still getting considerably better and is going to be, in 3 years' time, much, much better than she is even right now. I think that she is probably the most promising player in the field.
Yeah, I think I just looked up her age. She should be turning 30 this year.
She's that old?
Yeah. Does that change your perspective at all?
Let me be clear. I still believe the things I said because it's not 33 is ancient, but that hurts.
The key in FPO is Kristin Tattar.
I'm sure she's going to love hearing your reaction of she's that old.
No, that was a...
Well, look at it this way. Kristin Tattar is 32 right now. So Kristin kind of came into her prime when she was 30.
I mean, it doesn't when you I don't look at Holland and think she's
I would have guessed Holland
19.
was 26, 27.
That just surprised. And I mean, I guess that's fair because she started playing disc golf in 2020, so she was in her mid 20s. But
it is an interesting thing in FPO where if you look
that shocks me.
Holland 30, Kristin 32. Paige Pierce, 33. I think Missy Gannon is in her 30s. A lot of the Owen Scoggins, obviously in her 40s. Yeah. A lot of the current in our heads, really, really solid FPO players only have realistically 5 to 7 years.
I'll tell you who it does set up for somebody who is still really young is Kat Merch.
Kat Merch, Haley King, the Mandahano sisters.
Mandahanos, yeah.
I think
Holland. I don't think I've ever heard that. And like I said, that doesn't really change things because she could be
also
playing
have
at a
to
high level for another 8 years. But
disc golfers' age is very hard to find. So this is based on a Ulti World article. We
got volleyball stats.
We also have volleyball stats from University of Texas. She graduated in 2017 from University of Texas, which would put her 2 years older than me, which lines up.
Oh my heavens!
Because I graduated from college in 2019. So
yeah, I mean,
it all checks out.
It's not old. I just it's the way it is with disc golf when you have these athletes that get into the sport maybe a little later down the line.
Because she probably found it after college, which would be 2018, 6 years ago.
And something to consider is Katrina Allen had a trajectory like that, played college volleyball, and then kind of got into disc golf, and she's almost 40 at this point, and was able to have a very long career. So yeah, I'm not freaking out or anything. That just surprised me.
Yeah, Katrina Allen's 39.
Right. So I'm just surprised by that. But I don't think it doesn't change how I feel about her trajectory as a player. I think she is getting better. She throws the disc really well, can throw far. And when she's on, I mean, very tough to beat. I think she is going to be a serious threat going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, putting-wise, you were just talking about the final round. She won this event. She shot a 7 under, putting only 43% from C1X in the final round. For the tournament, she putted 80%, which is very solid, especially considering one of the 4 rounds was 40%.
The win. How many putts did she throw from C1X?
7.
Yeah, because there was a lot of laying it up for par.
Interesting enough, she was 33% from Circle 2 in that final round. She went 2 for 6.
That's pretty good.
In Circle 2, she was 32% for Circle 2 on the entire tournament, leading the field, which was very very impressive overall. But like I said, the key thing was she also led in fairway hit percentage, which lines up with her lack of OB strokes.
Yeah.
She just kept the disc in play. And like when, Haley King lost by 3, she threw the disc OB like 2 times more. Kristin lost by 6, threw the disc OB 10 times more.
Yeah.
Like keeping the disc in play really was like, it was that simple.
By the time the other players realized they actually needed to make some aggressive moves,
too late.
It was too late. I will say Haley looked pretty good. One thing you could notice, and the commentators are kind of picking up too, is I feel like she was trying to play smoother. She wasn't trying to just pump the disc out there as hard as she could. She always has had pretty smooth form, but I feel like she was really trying to just like play for accuracy and had a good tournament. She's playing much better golf towards the end of the season. I wonder if her injuries are just kind of healing up a little more that she had maybe early in the season or last season as well.
Kristin, this was an interesting one for me for Kristin again, because like coming into the final round, I think she was 1 stroke back where she was right in it, but then she comes out, doubles the first hole, birdies the second, doubles the third, losing 4 strokes to Holland Hanley in the first 3 holes. So all of a sudden that 1 stroke lead, 1 stroke deficit's turned into 5.
She let off
just
the
like
pressure
that
immediately.
Which is just like, not that Kristin was ever a chase you down type of a player, but a lot of times Kristin just hung around to where when you messed up, she wasn't.
Yeah.
And the past few events, we can't say the past season because we'll look at this in a second. She's having a very solid year still overall, but the past few events, I feel like this is the Kristin Tattar we've seen where it's just like, no, Kristin's making those mistakes too. And when there is an opportunity like Holland not getting the first, which really no one in FPO was getting the first. Literally no one in FPO got the first. Never mind. But when there were opportunities that presented themselves, it was almost like Kristin was presenting the opportunity instead of vice versa.
Yeah.
Which is just not typical what we've seen and not what we have predicted coming into this year, because she ended up firing off a 2 under par final round there. And once she got down by 5 through 4 or through 3, she really just never got herself back into it.
Well, and then like you mentioned, as successful as Kristin Tattar has been, a lot of her wins have come in situations where she's been able to hang around when other players were just falling apart down the stretch. And, you look at Haley King and Holland Hanley, both shot 7 unders that final round. Those are 2 players that went out firing. They went out strong, and Kristin was not going to win that event, just kind of on her normal thing. And it's interesting when Kristin, I think, has a good disc golf game, of course, but I do think a lot of her success was shrouded by the statistics of just how many wins she had. But if you watch Kristin's game, it's pretty simplistic, and there are certainly players that have an overwhelming amount of talent in certain categories that overpower her. I think distance is a big part of that. I think whenever you had a lot of her competitors that have been close by have been like Missy and Owen, who don't throw super far anyway, so it's pretty easy to look past. But all of a sudden, when you got Holland Hanley, who throws an elite distance for that division, or when Evelina is up there throwing, it almost looks like it's a huge difference. You look at some of the carries they're doing and some of where their drives are landing, and it's very, very different. So I think that is definitely a struggle. And like I said, Kristin's still going to be plenty effective in a lot of tournaments with chances to win. But I think that I don't know how often she's ever been the player where, if her game's on, it's a guaranteed win. I think, like I said, a lot of times it's just her floor and ceiling were pretty tight.
Yeah.
She kind of kept things.
You knew what you were getting.
Yeah, you knew where you were getting, and that has been very successful in that division. Will continue to be for a while. But I do think Holland right now, when her game is clicking and she's throwing the disc well at the right course, it's pretty much impossible to beat her.
Well, yeah, because if you look at it, Holland shot 26 under across 4 rounds. That's averaging almost 7 under a round.
Yeah, she's just
like you had to push the pace a little bit.
This wasn't very impressive rounds lately.
Yeah, this wasn't like Kristin's best round this tournament was 8 under, I believe, in that second round. Holland was able to fire off a 10 under in that third round. And so like you definitely had to push the pace a little bit more. And I think when you get into these pushing the pace, Kristin obviously can do it, but it doesn't necessarily play to her strength, especially at this course.
I say at that course, I don't think that kind of track meet type finish to a round is something that she was really up for. She hung around, but the lead never came back to her.
Yeah.
And the slow start definitely was a huge part of that.
Now, I did want to look, as Holland keeps rising and Kristin keeps slipping, right? The Player of the Year race just keeps getting more and more interesting. Realistically in FPO, these next several events to finish out the year could be very crucial. FPO's already had all 4 of their majors, so that's already decided. Yeah. Because Throw Pink's not a major. It's a major in our hearts, but it's not a major.
It will be a heavy recency bias win though for the voters.
And who won it last year? Holland Hanley.
That is true.
It was a controversial win, but it was a win. But right now, these are the 4 front runners' current resumes. Now, this is my opinion, 4 front runners. I don't think you can really argue with it, but Kristin has 4 Elite Series wins and 1 major win so far year to date. Holland now has 3 Elite Series wins, and she's the current point leader. I don't know how much you'll factor the overall point winner into it all, but that's kind of her resume right now. Evelina has 2 major wins and 2 Elite Series wins. And then Missy Gannon has 1 major win and 3 Elite Series wins. So really, the 2 front runners right now are Evelina and Kristin. Edge, in my opinion, probably leans towards Evelina.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, the interesting thing is Holland does still have the weakest resume of the bunch. She didn't get any of the majors, so that you kind of have to make up for that with a lot of Elite Series wins. I think she would have to probably get that number. I mean, what do we have? 2 events left, and then they have an A tier. Like, she'd probably have to win them all, basically, to have a strong argument.
And the Tour Championship. You don't know how much that's going to affect anything.
I think it would have to be a pretty historic finish from Holland. I think it's been a good season for her, but not getting the majors is tough, especially when the 3 other players that won them are very high up in this race.
Well, because in my head, I always value a major twice as important. So I go major counts as 2 Elite Series wins. So right now, you have Evelina at 6, and you have Kristin at 6. So why I'm giving the edge to Evelina is she won 2 majors.
Yeah, I would say Evelina is the front runner right now. I mean, the 2 major wins speaks for itself. I think that Evelina, Missy, and Kristin can all win Player of the Year at the moment, just based on how the season finishes. But I think it'd be very tough for Missy, whereas I think Kristin and Evelina, like you said, are kind of neck and neck. And if one of them has a very strong finish to the season, it's going to be close, though. It's going to be really close.
Well, it's very
I
fascinating.
can tell you that they're going to be leaning pretty heavy to give it to Evelina with the world title and the Champions Cup. I feel like a lot of people are going to lean that direction.
Well, what's really going to hurt Kristin is this big stretch from DDO all the way to the Crow-Cole Open. She just didn't play.
And she's still leading Evelina in points regardless.
Yeah, she's beating Evelina in points. But I'm just saying, like, for her to have, like, my recency bias in my head didn't compute that she has picked up 4 Elite Series wins, and she won the European Open major win.
Yeah.
Like, my brain didn't have that on the record because, like, I just remember she missed that whole stretch, and then since she's come back to the States, she hasn't been as good.
I mean, we're used to her winning, like, 10 events. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
so when
tough.
I looked at it and I was like, oh, like if Kristin wins one more event, she's probably Player of the Year. Like if Kristin wins MVP or GMC, which she could very easily win both. Like if Kristin wins both, she's Player of the Year. And it just doesn't feel like she's Player of the Year where we're sitting today. But if you look at her season as a whole, like 4 Elite Series wins and 1 major win, like
Still
gosh darn it, that's a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a very interesting race. That's going to be exciting to see.
The crazy thing is,
if I had to cast my vote today, it would be Evelina. But
this is the crazy thing.
Certainly could change.
Is we always, like last year we were talking about like Kristin was having this dominant year and like no one in NPO was close wins wise. Gannon has more wins than anyone in FPO.
Yeah,
Gannon's at 6 right now.
That's crazy.
5 Elite Series and 1 major. We'll talk about him more.
He's a unicorn
in a second. But in NPO, yeah, like I was just about to say, Gannon's making Player of the Year so easy. Like there's not an argument.
Yeah.
Like he's having a historic season. His worst finish is 13th. His average finishing place is like in the top 4, I think, still, or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like he's just having a disgusting season.
At this point, it's going to take something.
It's impossible.
Pretty crazy. It's not impossible. I think but it would. I mean, it might as well be, but statistically, I don't think so because I think if Isaac were to win USDGC and both the Elite Series remaining, I would give him that. 2 majors and 2 Elite versus 6 Elite.
2 Elites versus 5 Elite and 1 major.
Or 5 Elite and 1 major.
That's tough.
No, I still wouldn't give it to him.
That's what I'm saying.
I forgot that he had the European Open as well. So no, I'd say it's locked up.
I think it's pretty locked up.
Yeah. You could have like a conversation about it, being like, "Wow, 2 majors in back-to-back seasons, like that's pretty crazy."
You think you could stretch a segment out of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I may even ask a question to Gary about it, but
Isaac, I think, is the only one that has a chance at it. Realistically.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not really a chance.
But it's not really.
They're going to give it. They would just give it to Gannon already, and because especially the voters, they obsess over the finishing place thing. And to be fair,
well, because also there's a solid chance Gannon wins USDGC with how he's playing across 4 rounds of that course.
I would say him and Isaac are probably the front runners of that tournament.
But what happened in this tournament? Gannon won by 2. He was able to hold off a charging Ricky and Isaac in that final round. Isaac came out the gates hot in the tournament, but he just wasn't able to maintain that pace. with how he's playing, though, I definitely think he's going to pick up either GMC MVP or USDGC. I just see Isaac winning one more.
Yeah,
the past
he's
two
definitely playing
tournaments.
really good golf right now.
Because he got kind of shaken in that either that second or third round, he came out rocky and he was just slipping. And then he was able to rally on the back nine and put himself back on. I think it might have been the third round because I think he was able to get back on the lead card. And it was very impressive to me because we saw a little bit at Worlds where he took a few shots, but he was able to just like rebound really quick.
Yeah.
Whereas like that could be a moment where you just start slipping and you don't stop. So very impressed with both of that. Ricky did what kind of Ricky thinks. Like he just kind of charging. I think
Ricky's kind of been like Calvin this year of last year, where he's like he's just always around. He's just not converting as much as you would want him to, but he's somehow always in second or third.
Yeah.
Like
Speaking of Calvin was around and then shot even par final round, I think, and just slipped.
Thanks a lot for my top 3.
I think the moment to me that like made me be like, oh, okay, this is probably it, was on hole 16. I think it was hole 16. Gannon threw this drive, and hole 16 is like if I'm thinking the right hole, it's either 15 or 16, but you have to cross. It's island green more or less, and there's a tree that sits just shy of the island. And Gannon definitely was expecting his disc to flip more, it looked like, and it wasn't flipping, just headed straight at that tree. Very realistic possibility of it squaring that tree, dropping OB. Isaac was already on the island at this point. I think Ricky was already, or they both ended up on the island, whether they were already or not. But instead, Gannon's disc just kicks the side of the tree, pops it out, and it hyzers back into like a circle 2 putt. He ended up taking a 3 there. But it was a moment of like, when he got that break, it just felt like it took the wind out of everyone's sails. Because it was like, oh, here we go. Like people were charging, they were pushing him. He threw a disc how he didn't want it. It very easily could have dropped OB and been, had it dropped OB and Isaac and Ricky converted on their birdies, he would have lost the lead on hole 16.
Yeah.
Instead, he held on to what was at that point a 1-stroke lead. He pushed to 2 on hole 17 and then cruised in on 18.
Gannon's an all-time closer already at the age he's at. If he gets into winning time in the lead, he's very, very hard to beat because he's just so consistent. He throws super predictable, high success rate shots, and I think that's one of his best skills is he doesn't try anything crazy. And I think he just works the disc in a way where he tries to play things on the safe side and he executes at a very high percentage. And obviously his putting has been so good as well. I mean, he's just so complete. He is. I mean, I like as much as we kind of like watched Paul's career and we're like, man, I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that again. And I still don't think we'll see it to the extent. But like Gannon is setting himself up right now for like. I mean, I don't know who's next up, but right now he's had his way with the field this season. Like he has made the field, he has been head and shoulders above them. A field that we thought this wasn't really possible to do this in anymore, and I think that's going to continue happening in this sport as we go on. We'll see the next one and be like, that it can't get any better.
Well, I mean,
than that.
It felt like that in golf too.
Right,
now Scotty Scheffler.
Well, exactly, and that's the beauty of sports is like you always feel like it's impossible to dominate in a certain era, but there's going to be some player who figures out, even if it is just for one season, right? Like maybe this is just Gannon just having a crazy season. It won't be like this year. We saw that with Calvin. He hasn't been as good this year as he was last, but being able to win so consistently and winning all the plus events. I mean,
4-0.
That's good money right there.
Yeah, let's talk about the money.
Yeah,
he has now officially broken all cash in single season records at $125,638 on the season so far.
A lot of Legos.
With the Tour series, with the Tour Championship coming up, he has a very legitimate shot at breaking $200,000 this season.
Wow.
That's past crazy. Record, I think, was 116, if I'm not mistaken, in a single season. And yeah, we're sitting in beginning of September. And he's already at 125.
What was first place payout for Worlds?
20 grand, I believe.
That's a lot of grands.
That was 30.
30 grand.
Wow, that's even more grands.
I was thinking about this the other day. We always talk about Discmania and how they market. And one thing that Titleist does, Titleist obviously makes the Pro V1 golf ball. And all of their marketing, at least for years, was kind of just centered around, look at all these players that use our ball. They're the ones that win. Our golf ball is the choice of the people that win the tournaments. I think Discmania at this point, all their commercials just need to be very unapologetically. This player is the best in the world, and he's using our disc. Like our disc is the one that's winning more events than any others. Like they need to just come out and just be saying that because I think that is at this point, like forget the rest of the marketing. Like that's just what it has to be.
Well, I wonder if you could take. This is sorry, Prodigy, for this idea.
You say like the most winning plastic of the season.
But like if you took, well, I mean that's Innova for years has always been the choice of champions,
right.
And they just listed all their world champions. But
I mean,
if Gannon, I wonder if Discmania could be a little bit of savage and like be like pre-Discmania plastic and like have his stats and be like post-Discmania plastic and have his like, because I mean he's having, of course it's the archer not the arrow, but you might as well lean into it for marketing.
Yeah,
like he's having one of the greatest seasons.
It doesn't sound as mean as you're like his stats with Prodigy.
No, yeah. Well, I mean I don't even think you could. That might be a lawsuit coming. But I'm saying like that would be. Like, I mean, that's a pretty, again, obviously it doesn't have anything to do with the plastic. It's a lot to do, like, Gannon's just that guy. He could throw
move
anything.
People,
yeah, they don't.
But it's a heck of a marketing push.
Yeah.
I mean, because, like,
it has to feel good, man.
He's having one of the greatest seasons of all time.
Yeah, it just has to be so good being Discmania. Like, obviously losing Eagle was tough, but just watching that guy go out there and dominate with their plastic.
Yeah.
Like, just knowing, just even as a company that with their new blend has just kind of, like, been a little unproven. And obviously Antela has had success as well. And just knowing that, like, hey, our stuff is still up
we got to look at the
scratch. That, like,
cup. Great point.
That good players are still winning with it.
Well,
some of it.
Yeah.
That's easy there, Konner. Easy.
Yeah, I think his bag's only like it's like 70-some% the new stuff.
Yeah, they do throw a lot of the new stuff.
That's
good.
We don't have.
To be fair, whenever we saw him, like, his bag, he was throwing a lot of the new stuff.
That is very
new
true.
DD3s and his pliers.
At this
obviously.
point, it's just a bit.
I don't have post D-Glow Manufacturers Cup, but I do have post Worlds. I forgot to update it. Post Worlds.
Okay.
So you can kind of get a picture of where it's going to be post D-Glow.
Discmania is still going to be in the lead.
Yes, because basically post Worlds, you had Discmania at 493, Discraft at 464, Innova at 279, DD at 201, Prodigy at 186. So Prodigy is probably about to take over. No, because Ricky tied Isaac in second. Cash Blast at 102, DGA at 70, MVP jumped up to 60. 64. Wow, Hunter, 62 points.
That was huge.
And Eagle just finished in the top 10 again at D-Glow. So I think that's going to get them
and
some
Simon
more
was
points.
Top 10.
And Simon.
Yeah,
so they had two players in the top
really
10 again. So they're going to bump up a heck of points there.
They're coming alive.
And
here.
then Latitude and Westside round up the top 10 there. So
I really think
all that to say, Discmania is going to extend their lead here, because if you go Discraft's best player was Evan Smith on Clash. It was Luke Taylor in sixth, which shout out Luke Taylor.
He's having a great
little stretch
I really
here.
think that Eagle and Simon are going to really finish strong here and end up, they might move up a couple more spots in that cup, because I think like one between those two, they're going to get at least one win at the next.
I was say, do you think
events.
Simon picks up MVP?
I think between those two, they're going to get. Let me rephrase this. Between those two, there's probably a 70% chance they get one of the next two.
Now let me ask you this question.
Like, that's as strong as I'm willing to be.
Back to Gannon. Okay, where we're at now. So now he is at 5 Elite Series wins, 1 major win. What does it take for you to officially say better than the 2015 Macbeth season? Greatest season of all time.
Well, listen. I mean, once again, it comes down to as far as like what they'll look like on paper, it won't even be close. Obviously, the Macbeth season will just always look.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about greatness.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like you, not on paper.
But if I'm talking about difficulty of the season, like how hard was it to actually accomplish it, I think he would need to win another major for me to consider it. I think just the 1 out of 4 majors, like even in this era for me, that like considering we watched Isaac win 2 last year. So I think that hurts things quite a bit. I think if he were to win 1 more Elite Series and 1 more major, I'd probably say it then. I'd probably say then it was the hardest, like because I think the majors is a big deal, and I think because we've already seen players able to win multiple in a season in this era, like that would be important to have.
I think to me it's all USDGC. I think if Gannon Buhr wins USDGC, it is the greatest season of all time.
Yeah, I may say that.
And now he has to finish well at the other two, so he can't. If he goes out and craps the bed and takes
like a certainty.
That's what I'm saying. If he crapped the bed and finished in like 60th, okay, well then now, because like a big part of Paul's greatest season of all time, 2015, was he didn't finish outside the top 3. When you adjust to an average finishing place of 4th for Gannon, pretty similar. When you adjust to how difficult the field's gotten, but I think he does need one more major.
Not pretty. It's much more impressive.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
it's way more impressive.
Yeah. So I think if you go 1 more major and then he has 5 Elite Series events and 2 majors, 7 total wins. In this era, I don't think.
I know the Paw Patrol is going to be out on whenever we start talking about this, but if realistically, not coming outside the top 3 in 2015 is like not coming outside of. Well, I guess if we're talking about average finish place, I'd say it would be like not finishing outside the top 10, I think, in this era.
Which Gannon did. He came 13th.
Right. I still think not coming outside the top 3, even in Paul's era, that is one of the things that makes that season even more special.
Yeah.
Like it is.
And what sucks for Paul is one of his third place finishes was a 1-round warm-up event at a C tier. That sucks.
That was tough.
Like that's just one blemish on his entire season. Is
Well,
like
he was doing jump putts only.
He went to the Aussie Open warm-up, played a 1-round event, basically a flex start, came in third. And like that's one of 2 third place finishes on the entire season or something like that. Like it's crazy.
There's probably a story. He's probably like, yeah, I only play with a putter.
It probably is a story.
I was throwing lefties forehands.
But regardless, I mean, if Gannon gets a $200,000 earned on this year, also like
that would be
he's setting a cash precedent that's just not going to get broken until the purses go up.
Well, if you combine a record-breaking season with a tour championship, which is obviously just such a higher amount, and remember, like, yeah. He has only gotten one major purse, so like he didn't get the $30,000 from Worlds or whatever. They're probably gonna do 25 or 30 for USCGC.
Does Stat Mando allow you to do like average made per throw?
Yes,
Okay,
but like that's what I'm saying.
fun.
He could have been even higher up there.
That's a
Tour
fun
championship.
stat.
You got to think they're gonna push to 50 this year.
They were at 50 last year.
Don't let me forget. I have a
thought
question
they
to
were
ask you
45
guys after
last year.
this.
They were 50 last year.
Maybe.
I have a question to ask you guys whenever the time is right. So don't let me forget.
Okay, I just
That's
want
gonna
to
be
look at
tough.
this really fast.
I want to write it down on a sticky note.
It'll just take us. Just whenever we're done talking about this.
Oh,
specific
okay.
thing.
I thought you
Yeah,
meant
yeah.
after the podcast. I'm like,
No.
that's gonna be
I
impossible.
mean, like, yeah.
My
On
brain's
here.
gonna be top 10.
Okay, I can't quite see it, but
It's
I can do
it's
this
like a
math.
rankings list. It's not a. You got to go to like.
oh,
Yeah, I found it in there before. They don't have it for each individual player.
well, I could have just divided it out, but it's okay. So it's like in disc golf rankings? No, rankings multi-view.
Like where do they have like the list?
People's rankings?
Where do they have the like? The
Oh,
list?
I think you just want
Stat
Stat Zone.
Stat Zone. That's what it is.
Cash.
Must not be cash per throw.
Okay, I'm gonna just go back and do it this way because I can do it right here.
I think it's on that list. They have total strokes for him.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I can just do it here.
You're right. That is easy.
It's pronounced Yeezy.
Okay, so
Trevor.
this is not
Sorry.
including D-Glow because D-Glow is not in here yet. Let me make sure it's
What do you guys
also
think?
not including D-Glow in this.
I wonder. I
is
should
not.
figure out what my cash per throw is. I have a profile in there. I don't know how updated it is.
So we need to go
I
one.
think my cash per throw is like
113.
-10.
We haven't made any
4.3.
money.
Divided
You haven't
by-
cashed.
I spent a lot of money on it though.
I think I've probably cashed for like $90
So
some dollars.
this year so far, Gannon Buhr has made about $26 per throw.
That's so sick. I love those stats.
26.
Every time
That's-
a man
that's
throws a disc,
awesome.
he makes
Throws disc
$26.
$26. Now it looks a little
He can buy
different than when you like go
buy a new disc every time you throw a disc.
like Scotty Scheffler cash per hit.
That's a good way to look at it.
That
Trevor.
is
Yeah.
every time he could
Yeah.
literally he could throw a disc and just
Lose
leave it,
and not pick it up.
and he would break even on
It's
the year.
like how Shaq like
make
loses
money.
more money if he picks up $100 bill than if he
just keeps
like
walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Gannon Buhr, but just with discs.
I wish, you know what my favorite is?
Yeah.
When you have a guy's net worth and then it's like, it scales it to like the average net worth and say, okay, how much is $1 to them? And it's like Mark Cuban, for him, $1 is actually $14,000. Like that's the scale. Like for him to spend $15,000, it's actually like if you found a quarter in your car seat.
I was trying to find
crazy.
Scotty
Yeah,
Scheffler's
it's like,
like.
and they're actually pretty
toss
shocking.
me a penny, big man.
Yeah.
I was trying to find Scotty Scheffler's cash per swing, but I couldn't.
You ever
find it.
read those and you're just like, just give me like one of your $1,000.
Yeah,
bro. Dude, come on, like, give me-
I do think that. I don't think it's a healthy
Like
thought,
if I ever,
but I
like,
think
if I ever met Elon Musk, like, bro, just give me one of your thousands. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
just stop. Like, stop being mean. Give me one of your $1,000, bro. That's how we think. Greed's a real thing.
Now on Facebook, Eric Oakley took to Facebook and
I was remember
posted
talking about this.
and said, "I want to go back to playing European courses." In the comments, he explained and said, "A lot of courses in the States over-punish, which takes away from the enjoyment of the game. I'd love to enjoy more courses we played." Also in the comments, you had Kyle Klein, Justin Rozak, and Bradley Williams
Big Germ was in
agreeing
there as well.
with the original post. Big Germ might have as well. And it seemed like a consensus in the comments was that there was just too much OB out there, and throwing OB on a hole, putting OB on a hole doesn't make it good. We need more scrambling in the sport.
Yeah, there was. I got a
I can
huge
see the.
breakdown
I
of
can
this.
see that argument. I can see it.
The best
I
point,
love OB as a viewer. I think it's so much fun because you're forced to like have so much touch. But I can understand the point.
The quote that came out of here that I heard was, "Can we stop pretending that adding OB lines down both sides of every hole makes a good hole? Let people scramble." And then I guess Big Germ also added that courses are getting longer and more demanding, are forcing power shots to be done too often. Half of this argument to me, I get it. I get it that sometimes course design becomes a little, there's a lack of creativity. I think there's multiple factors at play. Number one is you're obviously getting complaints, a lot of these complaints. Now, some people that agreed are not in this boat, but like Eric Oakley, Big Germ, guys that are a little bit past it, can't throw the disc as far. So, of course, that's going to be front of their mind. Because a lot, like the guys that throw far aren't getting into courses probably and thinking like, oh my gosh, we have to throw it far. They're excited about that.
Yeah.
Now, with the OB thing, can it sometimes get a little not super creative? Maybe yes. But when you talk about the let people scramble and the OB down the lines, what you're really saying without saying is we want more natural obstacle.
Yeah.
And this just goes to the same argument we always have, which is the spectator experience versus the disc golf course. And I did gain a new perspective on that, having Worlds in our community and realizing that having those, New London, a lot of those players compared that to a European style disc golf course. That's why they loved it so much. You've got the woods on the sides, but the grassy fairways on a lot of holes, but it just doesn't make for a good spectator experience.
What's crazy to me
so
is
it's a tough balance.
The European Open,
he's pretty roped.
The beast is like all roped.
It's pretty roped, yeah. And also, but
I'm sure that's not what he's talking about. He's probably talking about like Krokol and Tallinn. And
yeah,
all that,
I think there is a balance because some of those European, like Krokol and them, like they do have great natural obstacle mixed in. And I do think sometimes the OB gets out of hand. I think there were some examples, even at Worlds at Ivy, where you were like, what the heck are we even looking at? I think that probably put a bad taste in some of their mouths. So I still do think it's a balance, and courses shouldn't just rely on them. But I'd almost like to, in these arguments, get some examples so I don't just make broad assumptions on what kind of courses they're talking about. I don't want to just be like, oh, so you think the Glendevere course stinks because it's just a little far and has some OB. Like, I don't know what they're talking about specifically.
Oh, specifically, they're talking about Deglo right now.
Well, here,
even Gannon was critical of Deglo in his post-round.
I don't think a lot of
interviews.
people think Deglo is like some master class of a disc golf course. It's on a toboggan course, and it probably spectates pretty well. And there's some exciting elevation throws, but I don't think it's very exciting as a disc golf course.
One argument I saw in the comments was like, oh, well, so if there's OB 10 feet behind the basket and I throw it 11 feet and you throw it 100 feet,
yeah, I think it's a poor
we both
argument.
at the same point. And I'm like, yeah, well, you both threw a bad shot.
Right.
Like the OB was, to me, the OB a lot of times is like, it's seen as, well, I only messed up by this much, whereas he messed up by a lot. Yeah. I'm like, well, but you realize you both messed up.
Well,
like OB is a clear definer of this is a good shot, this is a bad shot. There's no in between.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel the way I feel about OB, especially in a wooded course where the two roughs are blocked off by OB. I feel like it makes the course more about who's throwing well and not it leaves out luck. Yeah. Because yes, you can get kicked back into the fairway, but for the most part, scrambling is awesome. Like, I do think scrambling is really cool to have, but also one person might get kicked behind a tree, one person might get kicked with a great line. And so it just brings in more luck into our sport, I feel like, which for a tournament, I want to see the best player win. And I feel like the OB makes it to where the person with the most touch, the most accuracy wins, while if there is no OB, sometimes the person who got the better breaks wins.
Right. I think the idea of like, oh, you threw the worst shot, but you got the same result. Like that's exactly what can happen in the woods, even more drastically.
Yes. Yeah.
And then like you mentioned, it's very black and white. You both know going under the hole where the OB is, and you just know you just can't throw there. OB is not a game of almost. Like it's either you did it or you didn't. The ball goes in the hoop or it didn't. Like it doesn't matter if you hit the rim or you airballed it.
If someone walked into our store, right, and one person stole a mini and one person stole a sake bomb general, you both stole from us.
Yeah.
Right? I'm upset at both of you. Like, I can call the cops on both of you. Doesn't matter that one person stole a $5 thing and one person stole a $33 thing.
Get to a certain amount, then it becomes a felony.
Yes, that's why I chose a sake bomb. That's why I chose a sake bomb general.
The sake bomb might make it to grand larceny.
It could be close.
A felon would make you a felon.
Yeah, if you stole a felon, you're just a felon.
That is true. A felon.
My point is, it's black and white.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if a kid steals a stick of bubble gum and I steal a Reese's candy, we both stole.
I think that's the type of thing where you throw your shot barely out of bounds and you're like freshly frustrated and then watch somebody shank it even further out of bounds and you're like, are you serious? Like, why are we going to the same? It's like, we both did it.
Yeah.
You know? And also,
I'm not going to defend that OB should be the only defense of a course. I'm not ever going to defend that because I do think that is just lazy course design if it's like the only thing that makes this good. And I don't think Deglo is that way. I'm not saying Deglo is a great course, but Deglo has more defense than just OB. Yeah. Elevation's a big one. There are several trees that you have to throw, the shot shapes go around. and elevation's really the biggest. But there is a lot of other defenses, but then OB adds a layer to it. And I'm never going to say D-Glow is a great course and every course should be like D-Glow, but I am saying like OB is one of those things that gets people riled up when like in our course, to be honest with you, like I think one thing that disc golf should be looking at is we should have normal out of bounds, stroke and distance needs to come back for the pros, and I want to see hazard. And I want to see red, white, and yellow stakes or whatever.
Well, and here's something important to remember too. As much as you get like I think a lot of these pros like to throw these like luck of the draw random assessment at OB, and like that's how it operates. But like the best players are winning the events.
Yeah.
Like, and that seems pretty clear.
Yeah,
so
that's why I feel like OB does.
It's not like we're rolling
makes the
dice
best
and
players
being
prevail.
like, oh, look at Colton Montgomery who just won, and that seemed kind of like, no, like Gannon Buhr is dominating. He's the best disc golfer, and he's winning the most events. Like it seems like there's a pretty good standard deviation when it comes to the best players and when they're winning. Like, I don't see a lot of randomness, so I think that is actually a sign of out of bounds doing its job. I think you see much more randomness, such as, I don't know, Andrew Presnell winning a major when you get into the heavy woods. So for me, it's like, okay, less randomness, better spectator experience. I think in that balance, you have to lean a little bit towards the open courses and the OB. But I definitely agree. I don't think it should be abused. I don't think that they're making an argument like it's that black and white. I do think they understand. Like they're obviously pro disc golfers. They understand why OB is important and more open courses are important for the growth of the game. But I do think that the sport could get this obsession with just, hey, we have open land and let's just throw down stakes, and that it's important to keep creativity in the course design.
I think to give credibility to like Eric Oakley and the other guys that kind of agreed with that. Like I know Trevor, you said that a lot of them could be, they're the guys that maybe are kind of past it or something like that, and maybe they aren't throwing as far and stuff like that, which I think is true. I think also what you're seeing there though is those are the guys who have been in the sport for a long time.
It's true.
Which means they're very roots of disc golf oriented.
They've watched the game change more than anybody.
And so it makes sense that they would have the feeling of wanting to see scrambling stuff like that, because I think they're more grassroots disc golf.
Well, and they learn to play a different way too.
Exactly.
And
so I don't think it's necessarily just they can't throw as far and stuff like that. Even though that might be true, I think it is just their mentality of disc golf is different than the highly competitive and sellable disc golf that we have today.
Yeah. I'm definitely
because Eric Oakley, he wants to play his game because he's having fun.
Yeah, and I like
And so
Eric, and I
That's
like.
what he did say. He said it takes away from the enjoyment of the game, and I'd love to enjoy more courses.
There's not a way you can't argue with what he's saying, because his reasoning is it's more fun this way, and I get that. I agree. Yeah. It makes sense.
And that's a reason your local park should not just be littered with OB everywhere.
No, it makes sense.
I think
it's hard to find the balance between making the courses like hard enough for the winners to win, but also fun enough for disc golfers to keep playing disc golf. Like pro disc golfers to still enjoy playing disc golf. It's tough.
Got to make the paychecks bigger.
And
true.
I was trying to find. I think there was one more. I thought there was one more quote that I thought interesting about like a recent event that was a certain way. Maybe not though, because I mean I like those pros, and like I think like they're making valid points. I think it's always going to be an interesting pressure point in the sport for quite a while now.
I do have a brief update before Trevor's trivia.
Hit him with it.
I just got a text from Sir Edwin that the Manufacturer Cup should be on the site.
Oh heck yeah.
Actually, I don't see it on the site yet, so we'll go Trevor's trivia, and then we'll come back, and I'm sure Manufacturer Cup will be updated by then.
30 seconds. Yeah. I want to say this so that I don't forget it. We might need to make a note for in the bag. But I've got a good in the bag. What makes you yell? What makes you want to scream during a disc golf round?
Is that just like most frustrating, or can it be
frustrating? Okay. Or what makes you most frustrated during a disc golf round?
Okay.
Because I thought whenever you talked about Gannon getting that that good kick like off the tree and landing to circle 2.
Yeah. Like when your opponent gets a really good kick.
It made me think about whenever you're having a bad round and you're losing to somebody, and then on top of that, they keep on getting like good kicks and really fortunate lies and stuff like that. And even though you would have been losing anyway, it's just like, how do I maintain my morality in my voice
Very true.
but also let out my frustration? Because I want to be like, oh, are you kidding me?
It is the worst feeling.
Well, I think that's where I've made the executive decision that I'm pushing the Disc Golf Pro Tour playoff check into next week, because we got to get the top 10 in.
Shout out Hunter, dude.
If you want to do the top 10, you would do everything in your power to get it.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Trevor Sherry won't be too long today either, so we're good.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
I do think what you're just talking about is what leads into like disc golfers feel this need, and I don't really feel it in many other sports, which this is a great part of disc golf. Don't take this as me knocking disc golf. But the competitive drive in disc golf, people feel like it's like toxic if it comes through. Because like if you go and I'm playing against Trevor, right, and we're battling it out for $30,000 at a world championship.
Yeah.
I'm still expected, or like I feel like I'm expected. I don't think you are anymore, to like be like, oh, Trev, dude, 6-shot, man.
Yeah, you guys are buddy.
Yeah. And it's like
real Owens Coggins vibe.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, it's okay to not be. Like y'all, you don't have to. Like I'm not saying I have to like fist pump when Trevor throws OB.
Yeah.
But like, I know for a fact that if you're playing for $30,000,
you guys want to take,
and I threw OB and Trevor throws the exact same shot and hit kicks back in, that I'm not so excited. I want to walk up and hug and kiss him.
I've got to take. I think a lot of the players that do that do it to cope with their own sadness.
It might be.
That makes sense, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's also there's also a lot of fake people on tour, I think.
Yeah.
Now that's just a gut feeling.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of them.
And also, there's some that mean it too.
Yeah.
But
But
do you want to get into that, or do you want to leave it there?
I want to leave it there. I was just saying some people I think are definitely doing it for attention.
There are definitely.
There's other ones that are legitimately like, oh, I'm just so happy for you. But then there's also ones who are just like, I want a part of this moment.
I'm not gonna say anything. Hunter has this specific opinion about one specific person. And he's not gonna ever say it. And I'm not ever gonna say it. But you guys just like let it riddle in the comments. Who do you think
there's
it is?
definitely people that are legit. Don't take that wrong. I'm just saying disc golf has come from such a grassroots.
Silas.
We're all friends.
Silas, not Schultz.
Not Schultz. Disc golf's come from such a like grassroots. We're all like buddy type of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like I think that they feel like even though we're now in a really competitive era, like they almost feel disrespected when Ricky Raptor legs it in and is pumped.
I would sooner decapitate myself than like give Hunter a fist bump going down the stretch because he threw a good shot against me.
No, I'll be like, I'll tell Trevor,
we're actually buddies.
I'll tell Trevor like Trevor will throw a good shot. Like,
yeah,
I'll literally be like, oh, nice shot, dude.
And like
because like it's true. I'm saying nice shot, but I'm letting my true emotion out of like that hurt me that you threw a good shot.
And then
I'm never gonna be like, dude, if Trevor aced and we're on video, sure, I'll high five him.
That's basically the only scenario.
Like, I would never have a bad attitude whenever somebody aces in your face on a video. I would never do that.
Yeah, but like I mean, even then though, it's justifiable. You're in a heated competition against someone.
Sonic's only,
it's
man.
okay to not
and
be
somebody
excited.
called me bud.
Yeah. So, anyways,
that makes sense. And like,
it's okay to not be okay.
I think the frustrating thing is that if we had, for instance, if we had Isaac in a competition and he's neck to neck with whoever else, whatever, and then they get like a really good break. If the camera caught his face like look like frustrated or something like that, I think we would have a lot of people commenting about how being a bad sport or whatever.
Yeah, it's like,
but it's one thing if it happens and he's like, or it happens the other way and they're like yeah. I think that just shows that you care so much.
Yeah.
And obviously that we're doing a good job in the competitive side of our sport and motivating the players to care.
Yeah, and when the game's over, dap up and your buddies again.
It's just because disc golf just comes from you play with your buddies kind of thing. Like that's still how the majority.
I don't know though, because like I'm the most competitive with my buddies.
No, it comes from them all living together basically.
No, but if we're playing
like the person I'm going to be the most competitive in the world with is my brother.
Yes, but if we went and just played a casual round with each other,
casual, sure.
You're not like that, and that's where disc golf comes from is casual rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's time for a fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia. Right after these here messages.
I like you said
Trevor's Trivia.
All right, pretty simple trivia, but it's actually going to be kind of difficult. Simple in the fact that it's not going to be that long. So
okay,
I think we've done this one.
Gannon Buhr, 2024
next segment. I'm just kidding. We've done this maybe once before. We originally did this on a Stat Mando trivia show, but basically the way the game works is there's a disc that you're trying to guess. And the way you guess that disc is by guessing the answer to questions that relate to the flight numbers of that disc as well as the manufacturer, and you try to string it all together. So you guys can be working on a team, see how fast you can do this. Basically, I'm going to give you one question for each flight number. And then hold on,
you're gonna have to expand on it for Con. He
Yeah.
he didn't play that.
I think I'm a little confused.
So, for example,
I don't pick up on social.
For example,
cubes.
no, it's a confusing game.
If
I just have done it before.
you're trying to figure out if the first question that relates to the first flight number was how many world titles did Isaac win this year? The answer would be 1. So your flight number would be 1.
Okay,
so you're slowly piecing the
Gotcha.
and then you're gonna try. There's also a clue for the manufacturer, and
Loft
then you're
Boreum.
gonna try to string it all
and
together.
do we get more points the earlier we guess it?
I
or
think
is
it's a race between you and the audience. That's how I want it to be. So I'm going to give everybody the clue.
Dude, audience, you're going
If
down.
you're
Me and
listening
Hunter
right now.
destroy
You're trying to
you.
race Hunter and Connor. Okay, so I can read
But
it as many times as you need.
drive safe. I'm not stay.
Yeah.
Don't go over the speed limit to race us.
And don't close your eyes.
And don't close your eyes.
And don't drink while driving.
You don't want to do
Unless
those
it's water.
things.
Yes.
That's true. Okay, here we go. So for the flight numbers,
If you are dehydrated, drink while driving, as long as it's water.
Yeah, or electrolytes.
somebody clip just Connor saying drink while driving, please clip that and send it to me via Twitter. Thank you very much. Okay, so for the speed, I'm going to read through them all first, and then I can repeat them if you need. For speed, amount of majors Ricky Wysocki has.
Big hun.
For glide, amount of primary exclusive sponsors Nico Lacastro's had. So like not like Daredevil, but I was half his sponsor, primary. For turn, now this one has a negative in front of it.
Oh.
So the negative doesn't apply to the answer to the question. It's just like, remember, this is a negative. This is the amount of strokes Evelina won Worlds by. And then for the fade, this is the amount of times Paul Macbeth won the Aussie Open. And then for your manufacturer, this is a company, should be the only company, I believe, that has had both Nico Lacastro and Alexis Mandujano on roster at some point. So I'll read over it again. For speed, we have amount of majors Ricky Wysocki has won. For glide, we have the amount of primary exclusive sponsorships that Nico has had in his career. For the turn, we have the amount of strokes Evelina won Worlds by. You might want to start there. That might be the easiest.
I think so as well.
And then for fade, we have the amount of times Paul won the Aussie Open.
I think turn and fade.
Manufacturer has had both Nico Lacastro and Alexis Mandujano on roster.
Is it Prodigy for manufacturer?
Alexis Mandujano.
I feel like she was on Prodigy.
She went to
no
Discraft
Dynamic. She was on
first.
Dynamic.
She came from Dynamic. Nico was on.
Nico was on Dynamic.
So it's a Dynamic.
I feel like it's
disc.
Dynamic.
I'm going to go ahead
Evelina.
and say that I forgot that they were both on that team, and that is not the manufacturer. It was the other one. So I'll just say that. There was one other one, and that would be it. That was
Alexis
a great pool, though,
Mandujano.
guys.
Thank you.
I forgot he...
Yeah, he
he was on Dynamic.
It was when everyone was on Dynamic.
No, he was not on Dynamic.
He definitely had the DDs on his
Was
back.
it whenever Dynamic was?
It was whenever it was when they were a retailer.
Yeah, like Paul was on Dynamic.
Yeah.
But that wasn't his. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's the other one. They were both playing under
Prodigy?
a team.
Alexis Mandujano was never on Prodigy.
Was she not? What was Nico on? Maybe this will help us with question number 2.
Alexis went to Discraft pre.
So to clarify,
Valerie.
for question number 2, where it's primary sponsor, Dynamic would not fall in that category because they were like a retail sponsor.
Okay. We know he was on Daredevil. Ain't no way.
She wasn't on
Was
Daredevil.
on Daredevil, yeah.
He was on Gateway, Daredevil, Mint. He's been on Dynamic. Obviously, wasn't that.
Could she have sneaky been on
Prodigy.
Gateway?
I don't think she was on Gateway.
We would know that.
Because he also was that even ever his primary one. He was on West Side, but I don't think she was.
This one's not helping us.
No. I think we got to go. So Paul's won the Australian Open once.
Once?
Maybe twice, but once.
So a fade of 1 or 2.
Yeah, 1 or
So
2.
not a super.
How much did Evelina win Worlds by?
Yeah, it's what
3 or 4.
Then I would ask
negative.
you.
That's I don't know. 3 or 4.
So it's a flippy disc.
It's a
somewhat
flippy
flippy disc. Yeah. Now we need to get speed. How many majors does Ricky have?
I don't know.
A ballpark.
4 to 5.
4 to 5. So mid-ish.
Yeah, I'm thinking
mid.
I'm thinking it's a flippy mid.
Yeah,
of some
or
type.
flip your straight mid. So we get, but
We need to figure out the manufacturer.
She was never on Innova. Neither was Nico.
She was on Innova.
She was Nico on Innova
Was she
for
on
a
Innova?
split?
I think the Mandujano sisters were both on Innova. Nico had to be on Innova at some point. Yeah, so it's got to be a flippy Innova.
Mako 0.
I'll tell you it is Innova. Just to help you out.
Okay,
it's got to be a flippy Innova disc.
but it has a little bit of fade.
What's
okay,
the
so
speed? What was the speed hint? Is the Ricky
Amount
hint?
of majors Rick has won.
Yeah, so that we're thinking 4 or 5. We're thinking midi.
Flippy mid.
Mako 0-0, so it's not that.
I mean, to be fair, you can pretty much forget the glide one anyways. I just
Yeah.
realized because like that's not really gonna
Yeah,
make a,
no.
that's not really gonna make a difference. So really, you need amount of strokes Evelina's won Worlds by, amount of times Paul's won
I mean,
the
at this
Aussie
point,
Open.
there's not that many flippy Innova mids.
Yeah, a wolf.
That was
What's that?
I don't think
that?
the Wolf's too understable. I don't know. It could be because I think it's a -4-1. I think it's 5 something -4-1.
Yeah.
It could be a -4-0. What's
we got
the Mirage? It wouldn't be because Ricky's won too many majors.
Too flippy, yeah.
Because what are you guys locking in on right now? You think it's like a 5 negative?
We don't know the flight numbers.
We think it's a mid that is...
A flippy end of a mid, there's not that many.
What ballpark are you in?
Yeah, -3-1.
I'm just thinking a flippy end of a mid. That's all. I'm not thinking flight numbers at all.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's kind of how... Sometimes with these, you just have to get in the ballpark. There's only so many
there's not
discs.
that many flippy end of a mids.
There's not that many. What's the Lion?
Oversable. 0-2.
Okay.
Let's say 30 seconds here until we got to get a guess.
I think it's no way it's the Wolf.
I can't think of another end of a flippy mid for the life of me.
Yeah.
Because like the Mako 3 is the flippy mid, but that's not actually like flight numbers is
Atlas,
a flippy.
But
the Atlas
like
also is a flippy. I think it's like a
0-1.
0-1. They just don't make flippy mids. They've got the Panther is flippy.
Ooh.
You go Panther? I think it's a -3-1.
Panther. Final answer.
Incorrect. But you guys were in the right ballpark. These were tough questions. I'll be curious to see. Comment down below if you were able to get all of these. So
of course they have Google.
Rick won 6 majors. That was the toughest.
So it's a leopard.
It is a leopard.
Yeah.
It's a -2-1 is what it ended up being. But you guys were
interesting?
you got Paul only winning the Aussie Open once though, and that was big because I didn't know if you would get that. But I didn't know if you would know the Rick stat just because we've been talking about the major narrative so much.
That was an important
All I think
number.
of is Ricky's 2.
It was an important number because you guys separated it from mid. And
I just think
fairway.
of Ricky as the 2 worlds because his other major wins.
He won a European Masters.
Yeah,
and he also
all
won
of
the
them-
PDGA Championship in 2011.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of his major wins are like majors
And an
that
Aussie Open
don't
and a
exist.
Japan Open.
Yeah,
He won
The
4
only
majors
two
that don't exist.
The only 2 that exist are worlds.
Very
So that's all
good.
I
That was
remember.
really fun. I really like
Those
that
are
game
always
a
tough
lot.
because there's multiple layers to them.
You know, I just realized the Panther...
Innova just doesn't make much flippy plastic other than I mean
you
they
guys didn't mention the Wombat or the Wombat 3.
The Wombat, I knew there was one in my head.
If
I
you would
was
have
thinking
landed
of.
on that would have been right where you
Yeah,
guys were
we-
trying to guess.
I couldn't think
Because I think the
of
Wombat's like a
forget that one, too.
-3-1.
I think that was the
something.
disc though a while back.
No,
and
I think
it
Wombat-
like erased
yeah.
itself from my memory.
couldn't get
What's
it.
interesting is the Leopard Panther almost same disc, just one's a fairway, one's a mid.
Is the
and they're
Panther a -2-1?
I think it's a -3-1.
Ish. It's as in it's a flippy disc. But one is called the Panther and one's called the Leopard.
That is a good point.
Similar
They also
names.
have a Cheetah. It's a 7-speed.
The Cheetah
It's
is
overstable.
More overstable, yeah.
The Panther's -2-1.
Oh,
5-4 -2-1.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Just
And
add one to
Leopard
the speed and glide.
Is
It's a 6.5.
R.I.P. the
6.5
Panther.
-2-1.
Yeah.
R.I.P. the Panther.
R.I.P.
All right, top 10 time.
Oh, Manufacturers Cup time.
Manufacturers Cup hasn't updated. So
Okay.
I'm assuming. Oh, there it is. There it is. It just updated. Wow, this just in.
Go ahead, win.
You better fly through this big hunt. You better fly through this big hunt.
All right, we're getting the top 10 no matter what happens.
No matter what, you would do anything it takes.
Discmania,
I got a meeting at 10:10. So.
Discmania is now at 518 points after Gannon's win there.
It'll be fun next year to track like what the all-time record for Manufacturers Cup is established this year.
Discraft's at 473, Innova at 288, Dynamics at 217, Prodigy at 203, Castaplast at 102. MVP moves up another spot. They're at 75 now.
They're moving.
DGA falls at 70.75, and then you have Ladrid 64 at 58 and Westside at 57.
If MVP can just bump above Castaplast for the end of the season, then I feel like that would be like a success, at least to like, considering their players were out for a while, didn't play a huge schedule, like getting just beneath Prodigy would be pretty decent.
Yeah.
Considering they have some
World
good
title.
players, yeah.
All right, here we go. Top 10 time.
Okay, so I think the best way to do this is let's establish right now how far we're looking back.
Well, we have to look back pretty far because we haven't done this in a while.
Well, no,
we don't.
No, we don't.
You're right.
It's currently our top 10, not
Good point.
the
Good
last.
point, Trev.
Yeah. So
Good
what,
point, Trev.
So how far do we want to look back?
We are September 9th.
Let's look
I
at
think
the,
we go
look
through
at the
the
Pro
beginning
Tour,
of July.
We'll look at the Pro Tour schedule so we can like at least conceptualize what date we're setting right now. If we go like how far we go back, this is new.
the heck's going on?
Is it you got to?
Upcoming.
Oh,
Past.
I don't hate that. So
Okay.
let's go back and see how far we'd actually want to consider.
So the first event in July was Des Moines.
No way we should go back that far.
Procol European Open. Maybe once they come back to the U.S., Ledgestone.
I like that.
Beginning of August.
That feels
so
right.
Ledgestone on.
Beginning of August.
So
because
August 1st.
that's like this stretch of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
August 1st on.
We get Ledgestone, we get Idlewild.
Right now we have
Iglo,
Gannon
we get
1,
Worlds.
Ricky 2, Paul 3, AB
That's gonna
4,
change.
Kyle
That might
Klein
change.
5, Calvin Heimberg 6, Niklas Antela 7, Matteo 8, Dickerson 9, Isaac 10. I think first we got to go Isaac to Paul.
Isaac is going to jump heck of spots because in that stretch, he has been really, really good.
So we're going August 1st to today.
Yeah.
We're going Robinson, Isaac compared to Macbeth.
This is going to be horrifying.
Compare. Isaac is 2-0 in that stretch, beating him at Ledgestone and at Worlds.
Oh, yeah, I can see Paul didn't go to Idlewild.
So now we need to go Isaac in comparison to Mr. Wysocki.
This will be interesting.
Isaac's 2-0 against him, beating him at Idlewild and beating him at Worlds.
I think Isaac has to
and
just be number
Isaac,
two.
let's just compare him to a few other players. Anthony Barella in this time
It's not gonna be close.
dominates him 3-0. Isaac compared to Kyle Klein and Calvin Heimberg. I think are the other two we got to just make sure
It
of.
just won't matter.
Yep, Isaac dominates him and Heimberg. So Isaac Robinson is, Calvin Heimberg beats him.
Yeah, but he didn't.
But they
they're
went
both in the top 6. and he
Fourth,
just won a
second,
world
third
title.
for Heimberg. Isaac goes first, fourth, sixth, but one has a major win in there. So I think it definitely goes Isaac Robinson.
That does mean we should look at
and
Calvin next.
should go to third.
Yeah,
to be honest, but we'll verify that.
Well,
here.
it has to be because he's the only one that beat Isaac, and Isaac beat all those other guys.
It should, but we're just gonna verify just Calvin versus Ricky, just to verify.
They all play the
Calvin
same.
wins. Yep.
Yeah, they all play
all
the
right.
same
Well,
events.
hey, we just gotta lock stuff in here, Trev. All right.
It is true. We will be scrutinized under the scientific method.
Okay, so now we have Gannon, Isaac, Calvin, Ricky, Paul, AB, Kyle Klein, Niklas, Matteo, Dickerson. Niklas has been on a heater until today. So I want to go Niklas compared to Rick. I think Rick will win that. Then we'll go Niklas against Paul. And I think Niklas will win that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. Gut check, that's what it tells me.
He had the runner-up at Worlds, obviously. But he
Niklas
wasn't
1-0 against
he wasn't
Rick.
at the was he at Ledgestone or Idlewild?
No.
So that's the problem. Is like
He was only at D-Glow, and he did not play good at D-Glow.
what did he finish at D-Glow?
I think he missed cash.
Oh no.
Yeah, 45th.
So like not horrendous, but not good.
Pretty bad, though. He came in second at Worlds.
I think he's going to be
play
pretty much towards the back of this list, if anything.
And it's going to be similar against Paul. He's going to beat Paul at Worlds, but nothing else.
Right.
Okay, so Niklas maybe doesn't move. Niklas is in 8th right now.
Yeah. Dickerson might be able to pass him, though. Let's compare him to Dickerson. Because Dickerson's been
But they're only one event.
But that's what I'm saying. You get rewarded for playing in these power
Yeah,
rankings.
so I'm saying 11 to 2nd.
But like
Let's go Dickerson to...
we just have to see what he's been doing.
Let's go Dickerson to Paul. Dickerson is 2-0 against Paul, with an 11th place at Worlds compared to Paul's 16th, and a 3rd place at Ledgestone compared to Paul's 8th. And then this past weekend we have
what do you do there?
Dickerson came in 16th compared to Paul's 12th.
They're pretty close. But
Dickerson has one podium during that time.
I would say Dickerson has a slight
So Dickerson
edge.
would be 2-1 against Paul during
Yeah.
that stretch. I would say Dickerson has to move ahead of Paul. So we're going to move him there, but we're going to have to compare AB now up to Dickerson.
This is good.
I'm liking where this is shaping so far.
This is shaping good so far. Everything, when you test what I'm saying, I think sometimes we bite off more than we can chew. When you have like 3 events in a 2-month span, that's much
Dickerson absolutely beats the pants off of AB.
better. But AB's been not good.
No, AB
He's
had
been
a
not
really
good.
bad stretch. Where did AB finish here?
Top 20 maybe?
21st.
Yeah.
Okay, so AB needs a slip.
He AB is definitely
So we need to
treading down
compare
right now.
AB to Matty O, who's in 10th on our thing.
Well, we're going to have to look at like Luke Taylor.
I know. AB's probably going to slip. Matty O beats AB. So AB we're going to go ahead and tentatively put in 10th, but he might fall outside the top 10.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance.
Which is crazy, considering the start to his
It's
season.
been cold.
Okay. Niklas, I feel like 8th place is probably a good spot for
Maybe
him.
not. Well, we just got to look and see who needs to be potentially be added in.
Yeah. Kyle Klein. Let's look at Kyle Klein next. Compare him up to Dickerson.
He's been so quiet this season. I want to see him win something.
But sometimes he's quiet because he's just dirty. Okay. It's not the case. He went 23rd at Worlds, 11th, 6th, and what did he just do at D-Glow? 21st.
Yeah, he's been meh.
So he's been okay. But he does not beat Dickerson
Evan
out.
Smith has also been on a heater, I think.
Okay, so let's look at let's start pulling in some players here. Luke Taylor's one that we got to take a look at. Simon Lazot's one we got to take a look at.
Yeah, Simon also.
Let's go Simon Lazot to Anthony Barella.
Simon is actually, I think he's going to win at Worlds and at this past event at least.
So Simon is 1-1 against AB, but then beat him again this past week. 58 at Ottawa.
Bad
really
Ottawa,
hurt him.
but he
He went 7th and then just came in 5th. So I think Simon's good to at least get into the top 10.
Yeah, let's put him there for now.
Okay, now let's go Simon Lazot versus Matty O.
Another guy who's had he's always had quiet seasons.
They haven't played
each other.
So did Matty O play this weekend? Matty O might just need to get bumped.
What is Matty O doing right now?
Matty O did not, but is he hurt?
He might be hurt.
Matty O, PDGA, Matthew Oram.
Interesting.
Okay, let's see. He played Worlds. He DNF'd Worlds.
Okay,
he got hurt.
He's gone.
Okay, so Matty O off the top 10.
Rankings.
Okay, so that leaves room and brings Simon.
Let's look at Luke Taylor.
Well, let's go Simon to Niklas
What's
really
wrong
fast.
with Matty O, guys? You think he's okay?
I hope so.
I'm sure he's fine.
He could just be lost.
Niklas beats
Lost?
him, but he can't find it. He can't find the next tour stop.
Yeah.
Can't find
Some of the things you hear, you know.
All right,
Where's
Kyle
Matty O?
compared to Simon, 1-1.
Got me, Trev. Hey, Trev, you're so
Where does
funny.
Simon beat Kyle here? Yeah, so Simon's 2-1 against Kyle. Do we move Simon above Kyle Klein? Niklas has only played Worlds.
Simon's been hot right now. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay, let's go Simon to Paul.
Simon has had the hot hand. Had a bad Iowa, but two straight
1-0 against Paul, and then just beat him here, so he's 2-0 against Paul. So I think we got to go Simon up to 6th.
Okay.
I think I like that.
Yeah, he's been good.
But now that does move Niklas into 9th, which I don't know if I agree with.
Nicholas hasn't really
He isn't
done
playing.
anything. Yeah.
And he just had a bad. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, we're good here.
Luke
Let's just
Taylor.
look at Luke Taylor.
Let's look at Luke Taylor next.
Compared to who?
Somebody who has let's just get a read on what he's done.
Let's
Just compare to somebody
him.
who's been playing, so we can get a read on.
Okay.
Him.
Taylor, Luke, compared to, let's just compare him to Paul. They're 1-1 against each other. He went 24th at Ledgestone, 4th at Worlds, and then just came in 6th
That's
here.
a good stretch. That's better than Simon's stretch, isn't it?
Let's go. Let's go Lazat.
I'm pretty sure that is better than Simon's stretch. That's what I'm saying. Luke Taylor's hot right now.
He's 2-0 against Simon.
Yeah.
But he did lose, so
And
he's
just beat him here,
2-1.
or he came
one stroke off him.
That's a better stretch, though.
So a better
significantly.
Stretch. Okay. So we'll go to Dickerson.
Yeah.
Luke Taylor to Dickerson.
Luke Taylor, man. Can't forget about it. He's hot right now.
Dickerson beats him. Okay, so that's where he lives.
Yeah. I like that. I didn't want to. I feel like he was going to be the guy that we snubbed. He needs respect.
So
right
Luke
now.
Taylor gets the 6th place, and now we have to look at. There's one other guy who's in my mind. Evan Smith. Let's just go Luke
Smith,
Taylor to Dickerson.
Might need to
Evan
look at
Smith.
Ezra again, Robinson, because I think he's off. We kicked him out.
Chris beats Evan Smith. Evan Smith's went 13th, 21st.
It's pretty good.
And then just came in 4th here.
That's really good.
Let's go to Luke Taylor to Evan Smith. Evan Smith actually beats Luke Taylor. They've been very close.
But he also, I guess he would have
He
just beat him
here
as well.
too. Yeah.
Evan Smith, sneaky Evan Smith.
Evan Smith might have to jump ahead of Luke Taylor, bumping Niklas out of the top 10.
You got to play the game if you want to be in the rankings. You got to reward the guys that are playing well.
Well, Niklas had just finished bad. He did just finish bad.
You got to reward the here and now, you know.
Evan Smith, Luke Taylor. Okay, who was the other guy?
Ezra Robinson. We probably need to check in on him.
Oh gosh.
Oh, he's had an
Ezra
amazing
Robinson's
stretch.
Disgusting. What did he just finish here?
Such a good stretch. Did he play?
20th.
Okay, that hurts him a little bit, but he had a really good stretch.
Yeah, he
there.
went the last three.
Second,
ninth, and then just came in 20th here. Okay, so Ezra Robinson's gonna bump. Do we bump Kyle Klein or Paul Macbeth outside the top 10?
Kyle Klein's gone.
What was Kyle against? What was Kyle against Paul?
This stretch of that's what this stretch of the tour is gonna do. Because there's just events that play way different than the early
Gosh,
stretch.
but Kyle Klein's went 23rd, 11th, 6th.
It's not as good.
I know it's not, but is Paul?
I don't know. We probably already did this, but yeah, do it again.
Kyle Klein just feels better than Paul in my head. They're 1-1 against each other.
But Macbeth has gotten himself in events. That's the thing. He beat him at this one. He's higher up than that.
Where was he?
I thought.
Macbeth there.
Yeah, 21st.
Kyle Klein.
Is it 21st?
Where was Kyle Klein?
21st. You don't believe me?
21st. Okay. All right. So Kyle Klein's got outside the top 10. Okay, I think we got to go Dickerson. All right. Right now, we're gonna have to put Ezra Robinson in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave Kyle Klein in 11 just so we know.
This is like when you don't go to the dentist for like years, and then they have to.
Okay, now we need to go Ezra Robinson compared to Dickerson, which is probably gonna lean.
He's gonna beat him.
Robinson.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Because he cooled off, but then all of a sudden he got right back on it.
Yeah, 3-0.
I mean, there's not many guys he would lose to in this.
Yeah, he just lost by a little bit there, but not much. Okay, so Chris Dickerson gets bumped down for your Ezra Robinson. Now we got to look at him compared to Rick.
Dude's been red hot.
1-1, but Ricky just beat him.
Yeah.
So I think we're good here.
The ball stops.
I think we leave it there. All right, I think this is good.
Okay.
Top 10, MPO,
Really
Gannon Buhr.
crazy top 10.
Gannon Buhr first, Isaac Robinson second, Calvin Heimberg third. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Did we do Ricky to Calvin?
Yeah.
Are we sure we did Ricky to Calvin?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's like one of the first things we did.
I don't think I did that. Yeah, I did. Okay, because there'd be 2-1. Because Calvin just had a bad finish here. 7th. Terrible finish.
Yeah, like I don't think so.
Okay. Gannon 1, Isaac 2, Calvin 3, Ricky 4, Ezra 5, Dickerson 6, Evan Smith 7, Luke Taylor 8, Simon Lizotte 9, Paul Macbeth 10. The one guy we forgot to talk about is Eagle McMahon.
Ooh. Oh, that's gonna hurt as well.
Let's look at Eagle McMahon to Paul Macbeth.
Good catch, because he's gonna jump in. I'm pretty sure.
Schmiegel McMahon.
There's another guy getting kicked out.
Yeah. Eagle beat him at Worlds, and Eagle just beat him here. So there's one guy.
Yeah, compared to one of the guys.
Let's go up to Eagle versus Simon.
Although, has he played all these?
Trevor, for the month of October,
Eagle beats Simon, but then Simon just beat Eagle.
On our social media for the month of October, can we post like little things that are like somebody's name skewed a little bit to make them look different? Like we can do Schmiegel McMahon, where like he looks like a little bit like Schmiegel.
I did Salmon Lizotte once.
I think we just got to put Eagle in 10.
That was my idea.
Because Eagle just didn't play.
If you can come up with them, I'll post them.
Okay.
Eagle didn't
Schmiegel
play.
McMahon.
Eagle didn't play
Idlewild
or Ledgestone, it looked like.
Yeah.
So let me verify that.
We gotta say yes.
But he had a good 2-event stretch right here.
I think everything's different now that I know we're getting clipped if we say something wrong.
Click here.
You just think about Schmiegel McMahon.
I think about a lot of names.
Okay. Yeah, so in this stretch, Worlds is all he played.
Considered his putting competition third place.
No, we have not. But he went 3rd and 8th, so I think it's good to put him right behind Simon. So I think Eagle's in 10th now.
Okay.
So Simon 9, Eagle 10. First 2 out are Paul and Kyle.
I like that we have like the first 2 out, like we're March Madness.
Well, I like that just because next time we're
helps
not
us.
going to remember who was in 11th
Yeah,
and 12th.
we really should have been doing this from the get-go.
Yeah. Okay.
Great
FPO,
rankings.
we got some stuff jacked up here. Evelina Right now we have Kristin,
No
Missy,
Holland.
Evelina, Silva, Own. Silva Saarinen.
Silva's see ya. See ya, Silva.
I think who we put 1, Evelina or Holland? Kristin's not number 1 in the world right now.
Probably not.
I think let's just go gut.
Let's gut.
Missy Gannon is definitely below Evelina Saarinen.
Yeah. Evelina, how did she just finish?
She didn't play.
That's right. She's gone. That's a tough one.
I think the top
Kat
3 players.
Mertz has also been playing really well.
Okay, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go head to head.
And Haley King, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's switched up.
This is gonna be tough here.
This is why top 10s are tough. They really are. But people said they liked them. The good news is, if you don't like them, you've already stopped listening.
Evelina Saarinen.
Like that's pretty obvious. You know this is the last segment other than South Select, so like that's fair enough.
So they might click off and come back for South
They
Select.
might, yeah.
Evelina is 1-1 against Holland since August.
It's gonna be another tough one because Evelina hasn't played
Evelina's
much.
not playing much. Okay, we got Evelina versus Kat.
She basically
Mertz.
popped in, won a world title. Like one. You're gonna see me making a world's comparison. Every time.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you got to do somebody else.
Okay, so we're just gonna have to go Kat Mertz to Holland Handley.
We'll learn something from that.
2-1.
But we'll see what their
Kat
stretches
Mertz
are.
went 14th, 9th, 2nd.
And then she just took third. She was on sixth. Okay.
She finished 2 over in that final round. Lost by 11 strokes.
Why you gotta say it like that?
I was reading the stats. Let's go Kat Mertz to Own Scoggins.
That's a good one. You knocked that one out of the park.
Own beats her. Let's go
Ooh.
Kat Mertz to Missy Gannon.
Surely she wins that one.
Cat beats her. Okay, so Missy needs to be removed. Owen Scoggins needs to slide in here. Cat Merch needs to enter.
And
Honestly,
then-
probably 5th.
And then Holland has to get in there.
Yeah, now we need to figure out where do we put Holland. Where does Holland go?
Well,
Right,
you gotta
Jeff?
decide who the first person.
Right, Con? That's how Trevor said it? Where does Holland go? Oh, where does Holland go?
Let's play a game called.
So Kristin beat Holland
Where does
in
Holland go?
Worlds and then loses to her here. That's all we got.
Yeah, there's not a lot of work with.
Not a
The
lot to work
European
with
women
here.
make
I think
this
we just
tough.
got to go gut. Is Kristin Tattar or Holland Hanley a better player?
Well,
Kristin
Evelina
Tattar.
just popped in and won the world championship and then did.
Well, that's not what we're talking about right now. Kristin, Holland, which one?
Right now, Holland.
Holland.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
I'm getting
Now, Holland, Evelina.
I think we just give it to Holland.
Okay, do you think Evelina, Kristin? Who's better? We got to give it to Evelina. Just won a world title.
I
Yeah,
think we
that-
probably-
that'll make
basically
sense.
on merit have to give
It's
her
just
that
sickening to see Kristin Tattar with a 3 next to her name.
one. The next thing we have to look at one more thing, and that's Haley King. Compare her to Cat Merch real quick. She did just take 2nd to Cat Merch's 6th.
1-1. Goes Haley King went 2nd, 7.
Ooh, yeah, she's been
Okay,
better.
so we'll just bump Cat Merch out.
Yeah, let's put in Haley
Put
King
Haley
there.
King in.
Sorry, Cat.
Should have held it together at Worlds. All right, there we go. Holland Hanley 1, Evelina 2, Kristin 3, Owen 4, Haley 5.
Let's go.
That is our top 5.
And I give up on the Halloween names.
We did it. Halloween.
I was
Halloween.
trying to think of names. I give
Holland
up.
Handley. Halloween Handley.
Yeah, I give up.
There's something there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Silas
The only one
Selects.
I could
What's disc is in Silas Select's bag?
The only one I can think of was was from Matty O and doing Natty O. It's just Matty O's face on a Natty light can.
Nice.
Okay. What's in Silas Select's bag?
Channel
I know it's Prodigy,
home
but I don't know what Prodigy we really have out there.
out there.
Like, what Prodigy do I have out there?
What do we have out there?
Like, what even Prodigy do I have out there?
Well, also there's a whole U section, so it can
No, Trevor, I know about the U section.
Mhm.
Well, I know it's Prodigy, so it's just a matter of which Prodigy disc is it. And my answer
I don't know why I
is
put so much thought into this.
I'm going with
It's
Venom.
just not.
I'm going with Venom.
I'm going D1 Max.
I'm gonna say
T1 Max. They even make that anymore?
Yeah, boy.
I'm gonna go similar to Hunter's train of thought and pick the drive.
It's a D1 Max. It looks thin.
It is a driver.
All discs are
I can
thin.
feel it's a driver.
It's a D1
Buckle
Max.
up. Buckle up. Oh, it's blue.
What is it? Oh!
Got it!
Oh! I guessed it.
Oh my gosh!
I guessed it. And
What do we do now?
I don't know what
I
we
don't
do
know
now.
the lands.
I don't
Silas,
know.
you fell right into my trap because we just marketed this on
I know.
Thursday.
Why I went Venom is
And
Silas when he
so
walked over,
I
put the
knew
bag
they'd
down and
be
said,
here.
it is new. So I was like, what did we drop on Friday?
Why did you say that?
He might not have been trying to give
Well,
it
I
to
didn't.
him.
I didn't hear that, so I'm not going to consider that a Mickey Mouse.
If Konner
guess,
heard
but-
it.
I did not hear it.
No, you did. He said it to you. I was sitting right here.
Man.
Oh, he
I
did?
gotta be honest. I really did
What
not
do we do? What do we do?
expect
What do we do?
to,
You're 1 for 300.
What do we do?
Oh, Silas is triggered, dude. Silas, man. Let me just say.
I don't
maybe-
know what to do.
Does
Maybe don't.
Trevor
hey,
get
hey,
the
Silas,
disc?
man. Maybe don't pick the first disc on the shelf next time. Like,
Should we give it away? What do we do?
tough.
I don't know.
dude.
Sure,
I don't know
let's
what to
give
do.
it away.
Let's give it away. Let's give it away.
Let's give
No,
it away.
I
Give
want
it away.
it.
Give it
Okay,
away
Trevor
now.
gets it.
You can have it,
We
Trevor.
can give it away.
Let's give it
Early
away.
release city.
You give it away. Oh, Silas, dude, you're cooked, bro. Silas, dude, you can't even win when you have like 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds
This is an interesting take you're taking.
because he started it.
Okay.
He started it.
DM us on Instagram.
Okay, I am.
The lyrics. No.
Oh,
They just
the
DM
first
us.
person to DM all of the lyrics to.
They can just copy and paste.
so
I know,
it
but
does-
still, it's still the first one to do it. It's still impressive because they did it fast.
Well, no, it's just gonna be a giveaway. I don't want it to be a contest.
I just think it's fun, but like whatever.
Just DM us.
We're gonna get really long.
Okay, no,
DMs.
here
Whatever,
you go.
Hunter.
We'll make it a contest. We'll make it a contest.
Oh, contest.
First
okay.
person to DM us the
With a K.
only song that Konner has released on Spotify. The first person to DM
Oh.
Foundation's
Yeah, 'cause
main
then
account.
only
that.
the real fans will know.
Yep,
I
that's
like
it.
Because you
Dang.
won't just find it.
The only song Konner's released on Spotify. The first person to DM us the name of
Oh,
it.
dude, Silas, you're cooked, bro.
We'll get
I
this
don't know.
drive.
I guess I don't know
There you
how they
go.
would
You're
find that.
cooked, bro.
Congratulations. Well, we've talked about it before.
True,
You gotta
we
be a
have.
diehard
Yeah,
fan.
you gotta be a diehard fan.
This guy's cooked.
That's it. That's the show.
Oh, I can't wait for
That was
next
incredible.
week now.
Wow.
Can't wait.
Trevor's now one. Dude, we have to win this, Konner.
I feel
Well,
so
actually,
weird right
it's
now.
Definitely, it's something.
I couldn't believe he did it.
I think it's something to be the guy who gets it first, but I think it's
You
really
can't be
something
the
to
guy.
be the only guy that hasn't gotten
Yeah.
it. If like two of us get it and one hasn't, that's where it becomes tough. And also now Silas he's definitely mad that he lost, so he won't make that mistake again.
No,
He
he's
won't.
going. Yeah, he's going.
It's gonna start getting real crazy, but maybe that's where we want him.
That's right. We got Silas back in the corner right
Silas
now.
in a corner, dude.
We cooked,
Dude,
dude.
All right.
Silas.
We'll talk to you
Gosh,
next
we're
week.
gonna have to have somebody else select them. I'm just kidding.